This video is brought to you by catbeast.com. Design your own custom snapbacks and hats.
Paul Pierce's journey from the rough streets of Englewood, California to the hardwood floors of the NBA has been one of the most motivational yet scary stories of all time. As a matter of fact, it nearly cost him his life. Growing up as a child, Paul Pierce was a sharpshooter who turned to basketball to avoid being involved in Englewood's streets and its gangs. Although Pierce dreamed of becoming the next Magic Johnson, he still had a lot to prove as a player. Over time, he eventually grew into his bulky frame and embraced his role as a team leader, guiding his Englewood High School team to a division championship. University of Kansas coach Roy Williams saw a lot of potential in Pierce and decided to challenge him. Williams had convinced Pierce, who was California's top college prospect at the time, to join him and his team as a member of the Kansas City Jayhawks. Of course, Pierce would agree, considering he was trying to get as far away from the streets as possible. As time went by, Paul Pierce began to adjust to his new team, and by his sophomore year, Pierce was a leading scorer on a team full of NBA-bound players. Although the Jayhawks were stopped short of winning the 1997 national championship, everyone knew that Paul Pierce was the next big thing. So when he entered the 1998 NBA draft the following year, he was considered a top 5 pick. To everyone's surprise, Pierce was drafted 10th overall in the first round by the Boston Celtics, the team that Paul Pierce hated growing up as a kid. Paul Pierce arrived in Boston and was determined to turn around the young and struggling Celtics team. Standing at 6'7" and weighing 220 pounds, Paul Pierce was ready to show the league the damage he was capable of doing. Unfortunately for him, he was cut short by a severe ankle injury in his rookie season. Still, as a rookie, he surprised many. He was 10th in NBA 3-point field goal percentage and averaged 16.5 points, 6.4 rebounds, and 1.71 steals in 34 minutes a game. By his second season, Pierce was playing up to his potential. Him and his teammate Antoine Walker began laying the foundation for a return to greatness to one of history's most famous franchises. Paul's 19.5 points and 35.4 minutes per game were both second on the team, trailing Antoine Walker. He was second in the NBA in steals per game with 2.08, but on a subtle night in September, all his hard work would come to an end. On September 25, 2000, weeks before the rising star began his third season with the Celtics, Pierce was the victim of a violent stabbing. Pierce was stabbed 11 times in the face, neck, and back, and had a champagne bottle smashed over his head at a facility called the Buzz Club. The club was a late-night dance club in the Boston Theater District. Pierce was stabbed at the private event while in the pool room in the early mornings at around 1 a.m. Luckily for him, he was with several friends, including at least one teammate. Tony Batty, Pierce's teammate at the time, along with Batty's brother, saved him by rushing him to a nearby hospital. The 22-year-old player had to undergo lung surgery to repair most of the damage on his collapsed lung. One of the stab wounds had gone as far as 7 inches deep. The Celtic star laid there fighting for his life. After being stabbed, Pierce remembered saying to himself, "I hope I don't die. I just want to make it through this. Am I going to live?" Former Celtic star and coach Tommy Hainson said Pierce had been wearing a leather jacket which helped protect him. Witnesses claimed that Pierce was attempting to separate a fight when he was stabbed. Police said they were investigating witness reports that the fight involved people connected to a local rap group called Made Men. However, till this day, no one knows what the fight was about. Witnesses claim there were as many as 20 people involved in the fight at the club that night. Unfortunately, nobody was arrested, at least at the time. The nightclub, which operated under different names at different times of the week, would be blamed for allowing an assault and battery happen on its grounds. Several other violations had previously happened at the club, including at least 2 assaults in that year. Anyhow, while Paul Pierce fought for his life in the Boston hospital, the city was desperate for the truth about what happened to their local hero. On September 28, 2000, 2 of the 3 men wanted by police in the stabbing turned themselves in. 31-year-old Tony McRae and 34-year-old Trevor Watson appeared at a Boston police station at 7:30 p.m. with their lawyers and surrendered. There was a warrant issued for Hertzen, Watson, and the last suspect, 28-year-old William Ragland, charging all 3 with assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. Hertzen was accused to have used the bottle that was smashed on Pierce's head, while Watson and Ragland were alleged to have used a knife. All 3 men were members of Made Men, a rap group that witnesses reportedly told police might have had a connection to the stabbing the night it happened. 2 women had testified before a grand jury, identifying all 3 defendants 10 days after the stabbing. It would take almost 2 years after the stabbing for the accused men to go to a jury. Conflicting stories and denied testimonies made the case even more of a mystery. A couple of years later, all 3 defendants charged with trying to kill Paul Pierce were acquitted. 2 of the men were convicted on lesser charges and were even found innocent of armed assault with intent to murder in the attack. However, the jury finally reached the verdict on its 4th day. In the end, Ragland and Watson were both convicted of assault and battery, while Ragland received an additional conviction of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. Ragland was facing up to 10 years in prison for the assault with a dangerous weapon conviction and another 2.5 years for the assault and battery. Watson was looking at 2.5 years behind bars. Unfortunately for Trevor Watson, he would return back to his cell after being sentenced to 30 years in prison for the attempted murder of a drug enforcement agent in 2010. Paul Pierce himself said, "I'm happy this has come to an end. It was an unfortunate incident for all involved, and I'm looking forward to putting it behind me and focusing my attention on the upcoming season." Less than a week after the stabbing, Paul Pierce walked out of the New England hospital on his own and back onto the basketball court. Although he was playing at half his strength, he was the only Celtic to start all 82 games that year. Despite being seriously injured in the attack, Pierce led the Celtics in scoring during the 2000-2001 season with a 25.3 points per game average. Casey Jones, a former Celtic standout and coach, said he was very lucky. He had the Angels on his side. In 2003, 2.5 years after the attack, Paul Pierce paid $2.5 million to help expand the medical center that helped make his recovery possible. Pierce stated, "This is an opportunity for me to give back to the hospital that was there for me when I needed it." And although William Ragland was found guilty of attempted murder and Trevor Watson was convicted of assault and battery, the truth about what happened that September night still remains a mystery. And that concludes the video. As always, if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. If I made any mistakes or missed anything that you felt should have been included, please let me know. Also, if you have any recommendations for future videos, such as interesting stories or topics like this, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. As always, thanks for watching NBA Insider.